How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of the Banker Next Door. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Berquist. Today, I wanted to talk to everyone about building a high performance sales culture. So, I came across a great article in Bank Director that I wanted to share with everybody. And I thought we could talk about this a little bit. But this article is entitled Building a High Performance Sales Culture by Shifting to a Customer Centric Approach. Banks can build long term loyalty, fueling sustainable growth. What does it say here? So for years, banks have competed by focusing on their products, interest rates, loan structures, and account features. But with digital disruption and increasing commoditization, that approach isn't enough anymore. To stand out and build a high performance sales culture, banks must shift to a customer centric sales strategy that emphasizes value based selling and long term relationships. So, a customer centric strategy is about understanding each client's financial needs, personalizing solutions, and building trust. In other words, it's not just about selling the latest mortgage rate or business loan. It's about acting as a trusted advisor and helping customers navigate their financial futures. Banks that are successful in making this shift invest in consultative sales training, equip their teams with skills to uncover deeper customer needs, and foster a service-driven culture. So then it goes into building a high performance sales culture. So banks with strong sales performance cultures differentiate themselves with an emphasis on creating meaningful customer relationships. Instead of thinking about sales as pushing a product or making a transaction, they define selling as uncovering needs, meeting needs, and creative value for customers while strengthening trust within the relationship. To develop a high performing sales team, banks should focus on three key areas. Number one, value-based selling. Number two, coaching and continuous development. And number three, long-term relationship building. So value-based selling. Bankers need to shift their mindsets to prioritize customer needs and think from the viewpoint of the customer. This requires building the skills, curiosity, and confidence to ask insightful questions, listen actively, and offer tailored financial solutions. Coaching and continuous development. So ongoing coaching helps reinforce strong sales behaviors and bankers' sense of purpose. In addition to regular training, sales managers must provide real-time feedback and model a customer-first approach. Number three, long-term relationship building. So instead of focusing on one-time transactions, banks need to adopt a consultative sales mindset, ensuring customers receive ongoing value. Relationship managers play a key role in maintaining trust and engagement over time, which inevitably will drive sales along with it. The role of leadership in shaping the sales culture. So executives and managers set the tone for a bank's sales culture. Leadership must actively promote a customer-first mindset by doing three things: leading by example and engaging with customers directly to understand their needs, encouraging collaboration between sales, marketing, and operations to ensure a seamless customer experience, and number three, aligning incentives and performance metrics with long-term customer satisfaction, not just short-term sales. So the key to sales success. So many banks invest in sales training but struggle to see lasting change. That's because training alone isn't enough. Ongoing coaching is critical for long-term results. Consistent, effective coaching builds accountability, helps people push through plateaus, and ensures strong sales behavior become second nature. So successful coaching focuses on recognizing and developing bankers' full potential, not on solving problems for them. It includes regular one-on-one feedback sessions, focusing on asking good questions, listening more than talking, and coaching on knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Role-playing customer scenarios to refine consultative selling skills. Help bankers work through their problems and challenge them to become their best. Connecting personal goals to professional goals and then setting clear expectations. Regularly reviewing and evaluating them and creating accountability for follow-through. Banks that implement coaching focused on empowering and motivating people to achieve their full potential, combined with a sales approach grounded in integrity and relationship building, C, increased banker engagements that results in greater customer trust and business growth. So, what are some of the key metrics here for a strong sales culture? So, a high performance sales culture isn't just about revenue, it's about sustainable customer relationships. So, some metrics to track include customer satisfaction scores, retention and lifetime value, employee engagement. So then transforming your sales culture. So to make the shift to a customer centric sales culture, banks should focus on purpose and value, break down organizational silos, and start at the top. So clear communication and leadership buy-in is essential to galvanizing the culture and sustaining change. Absolutely. And then it wraps up by saying banks can't create differentiating value in today's market by simply pushing products and implementing the latest technology. By shifting to a customer-centric approach, that includes developing purpose-driven teams and strong coaching practices. Banks will be better able to connect with their customers and build long-term loyalty that fuels sustainable growth. So now is the time to rethink your sales strategies and empower your teams to succeed in the new era of relationship-driven banking. So absolutely love this. Great article, well written, really hits a lot of the high points as far as, how do you build this high performance sales culture? You really focus this around a relationship approach, relationship based lending, that's, and when you think of community banks, for example, that's really at the very core of what community banks do. They're all about the relationship. You don't want to be a quote unquote transactional lender. You want to be a relationship based lender, meaning that everything that you do is focused on the overall relationship. Now, to be practical, like this sounds great, but now let's take it to the real world for a second. Is every deal that you do going to be a giant relationship deal where you're going to get everything? You're going to get, let's say you make somebody, you're going to get a mortgage and a line of credit for the business, and you're going to get all their deposits, and you're going to get all of their, cash management services for them, all their credit card business, everything else, online banking, you're going to get the whole kit and caboodle. Is that going to happen? Yes, it will happen if you focus on this, if you focus on relationship-based lending. However, is that going to happen all the time? No, it's not. Sometimes transaction's just going to be a transaction. Sometimes a person or a customer, an individual or a business, sometimes they just need you to do this one thing for them. Or some companies might just have deposits with you. They may not, they may be very debt averse. They may not want to borrow money. You may also have companies that maybe borrow a lot and have some deposits with you, but for maybe some reason, maybe locations, something, maybe because of where their employees need to cash their checks or get the direct deposit, they have the deposits in other places. Maybe they're not that big and they just don't need a whole lot of cash management services. There could be a whole number of reasons for that. But what they're trying to do here is, again, this is a cultural thing. It's a sales culture. You're trying to embed that in there. And I think the points about the training of the salespeople to basically say, hey, listen, we want you to have a relationship-based mindset. Always be focused on the relationship. Don't just sell a product, sell a solution to the customer. And again, in real world terms, sometimes a loan is just a loan. Somebody's buying a building, they need a mortgage. Somebody's buying a piece of equipment, they need a term loan. Someone's buying a line of credit, or someone is, needs to buy inventory, they just need a line of credit. Like sometimes it's just that simple, but sometimes you really need to think about what you're doing. Like what what do they plan to do? Maybe they don't need to borrow, maybe they don't need to borrow up to 80% on the mortgage. Maybe they just need 50%. Maybe they don't need the money for 25 years. Maybe they only need it for 15. Look at some of these different things that are going on there, and really, again, it's a mindset. It's focusing in on what the customer really needs and what you can ultimately provide them. If there's a better way of doing something, try to offer that advice. Again, take more of a consultative approach to things. That has held me in very good regard over the years with many of my customers. I always put the relationship over just simply getting another transaction. I always, if you, and again, and it can also, and again, real world context, sometimes people are just rate shoppers, or they're just the customer is very rate sensitive, meaning that, hey, it doesn't matter what you do. You could be the best, salesperson in the world. You could be the best banker in the world. They don't care. They're going to go with whoever offers them the lowest rate and the lowest fees, or makes it as painless as possible. That's it. That's their only motivation. That's their hot buttons, if you will. That's what they're going after. So that happens. That happens in the real world. You have to accept that happens. But I think the idea there is that if you were looking at percentages, so say that happens with like 30% of your customers. So what you want to have is you want, like, say 60% of your customers to be relationship-based customers, people that really appreciate the advice and the consultation that you're giving them, that people that you have built the strong relationship with, they keep coming back to you for more, oh, hey, I need another loan, or hey, I want to introduce you to this person because you did such a great job for me. I'd love to have you help this person too, or I have another family member that needs something, or my friend needs something, or, something like that, something that leads you to referrals. You turn that customer almost into like a fan, and that fan sings your praises and gives you basically free word of mouth advertising, promotes you. That's what you're looking for. That's what you're trying to build there. And then as far as the managers, just having these coachable situations. I love, I'm not a New England Patriots fan per se, but I absolutely respect Bill Belichick, the former now coach of the New England Patriots. Gosh, hard to believe, former. But Bill Parcells, he always coached situational awareness with all of his players. He would go up to his players. He'd be walking down the hallway. Hey, 3rd and 1, you're on the 5-yard line. The defense is doing this. What are we doing? What play are we running? Or he'd ask the defensive player, like, hey, there's a minute, there's 1 minute left. You're at your own 30-yard line. Offense is running down the field. What do you do? How do you handle this? So again, and I think that kind of coaching and training applies here to that situational awareness. Again, I think this is all great stuff in building a high performance sales culture based on relationship based lending. And you got to love it. And again, I think, developing some of these key metrics, looking at some of these things, really focusing in on, again, your focus, your purpose, your values, again, trying to break down organizational silos, having a champion at the top to really drive this through the whole organization. A lot of times, if it's a sales team, it'll be the chief lending officer. The chief lending officer will drive this through the bank. But that's the deal. I love this stuff. I could literally talk all day about this. I love talking about sales cultures, building good sales cultures, good sales training techniques, things to do, things not to do as well. But anyway, but I will wrap this episode up by saying that again, I hope you find this stuff interesting, and please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, as that really helps the channel. Remember, we are on YouTube, Rumble, and all major podcast platforms. Please be sure to leave your comments down below, as I always love getting back to everybody. As always, make sure to check out some of the other content on the channel. Remember, BND Strategy Room is live on Saturday nights at 8 p.m. on YouTube, so please come on and check us out. I hope everyone has a wonderful day out there. Thanks for listening, and I'll see everybody again real soon.